Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a mystery that, honestly, almost all of us experience. You know that feeling where your brain is like a computer with way too many tabs open? Just completely out of RAM, even when you literally haven't moved from your desk all day? Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at today. We've all been there, right? You look at the clock, it's 2 p.m. You haven't run a marathon, you've just been sitting in your office chair, yet you are absolutely fundamentally exhausted. You're probably reaching for that third cup of coffee, kind of wondering, what is wrong with me? Well, spoiler alert, absolutely nothing is wrong with you. In this explainer, we're going to uncover this hidden tax on your daily mental energy and figure out exactly what's draining your battery. All right, let's jump straight into our first section, the live cognitive test. So, grab a piece of paper or just open a quick note on your phone, because we're going to tally up your personal cognitive load score right now. If you experienced a ghost notification today, you know the one, your phone buzzed in your pocket but there was absolutely nothing there, go ahead and give yourself +2. Why? Because that tiny little buzz triggers an open loop in your brain. It literally forces your mind to burn scanning energy looking for a threat or an update. Oh, and did you make a bunch of trivial micro decisions this morning? Add +3 for decision fatigue, which directly taxes your prefrontal cortex. Keep that running tally going as we look at the really heavy hitters. Now, there's a massive +5 penalty for context switching, and it exists for one very specific reason, the number 23. Research actually shows it takes your brain approximately 23 minutes just to fully refocus on a primary task after a single interruption. Just think about that for a second. Every single time you glance at a Slack message while you're in the middle of writing an email, you're paying a 23-minute cognitive switching cost. You're not multitasking, you are just rapidly switching contexts, and your brain is footing a really massive physiological bill for the privilege. And then we have the +4 penalty for unfinished tasks. This one is driven by a wildly fascinating psychological quirk called the Zeigarnik Effect. Basically, this is the phenomenon where our brains vividly remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks way better than the ones we've actually finished. It's the exact reason why that one single email you didn't reply to kind of haunts you while you're trying to eat dinner. Those lingering open loops create this constant humming background drain on your mental bandwidth. It's like your brain is keeping a heavy app running in the background, just draining your battery down to zero. Moving right along to our next part, the science of the load. So, if your rough score is already creeping past 10 or 15 just from your standard morning routine, you're operating dangerously close to empty. And here's the science behind why. When your working memory gets saturated by all these everyday digital triggers, the ghost notifications, the context switching, the endless open loops, your body literally cannot tell the difference between a digital threat and a physical one. It just responds with pure stress. A saturated working memory leads to real, measurable cortisol spikes. Your stress hormones flood your entire system, and that directly leads to reduced heart rate variability, or HRV. So that 2 p.m. exhaustion, that's not laziness. It's a measurable physiological stress response to a digital environment that your brain simply wasn't built for. To figure out how to manage all this energy, we can look at cognitive load theory. This theory basically breaks all of our mental effort down into 3 distinct buckets. First up is intrinsic load. Think of this as the inherent difficulty of the task itself, like solving a really complex math problem or writing a tough proposal. You really can't change this. The work is just the work. Then there's germane load. This is the good mental effort that your brain uses to learn, adapt, and create permanent mental patterns. Good stuff. But it's the middle bucket we really need to worry about today. That crucial middle bucket is extraneous load, better known as the junk load. This is the friction in your day. It's the messy digital clutter on your desktop, the totally confusing user interface on that software you're forced to use at work, the noisy notifications constantly popping up in your peripheral vision. Extraneous load provides absolutely zero value to the task at hand, but it aggressively steals your working memory bandwidth anyway. It is literally the friction that grinds your cognitive gears to a complete halt. And here's the kicker. Your bandwidth is incredibly limited. According to a fundamental principle of cognitive psychology known as Miller's Law, the average human working memory can only hold about 7 chunks of information at once, ±2. Think of that as your biological hard drive space, 7 chunks. So if you're asking your brain to juggle 15 or 20 daily digital activities, notifications, and micro decisions all at the exact same time, you are asking it to do something that is, quite frankly, biologically impossible. It's absolutely no wonder your system crashes. Okay, so how do we actually fix this? That brings us to our final section, the fighter-pilot solution. So how on earth do high-stakes professionals avoid crashing and burning? Well, think about the average user compared to a high-stakes expert. The average user lets their mental RAM get completely saturated with junk, all that extraneous load we just talked about. By the time they actually sit down to try and do their deep work, the tank is already completely empty. But then you have the experts. People like fighter pilots and surgeons strictly protect their cognitive capacity. They know their intrinsic load, flying a supersonic jet or performing open heart surgery, is incredibly high. So they use specific, rigorous systems to ruthlessly eliminate and offload all that extraneous junk. And their primary secret weapon for doing this, it's shockingly simple. It's checklists. Seriously. These high-stakes experts use rigorous checklists to completely offload that extraneous junk load. Instead of using their precious working memory to remember the 15 specific steps to power up an engine or prep an operating room, they externalize it right onto a piece of paper. This seemingly simple act ensures that their limited biological brain capacity is reserved entirely for the inherent, intrinsic difficulty of the actual job. They don't rely on memory, they rely on systems. So, we've tallied up your score, we've looked at the very real biological cost of your daily digital routine, and we've seen exactly how the pros handle it. Now that you understand just how valuable and how incredibly limited your mental RAM truly is, I want to leave you with this final thought. What extraneous load are you going to offload today? What notifications can you silence, or what open loops can you close to finally reclaim your mental energy? Take a moment to really think about it, protect your bandwidth, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.